So a few days ago, I did a video on FNAF Plus, and in that video, I talked about my complaints with it, and some of my complaints came off very poorly worded, and at some points I was just outright wrong. So this video is made to address the comments that I'm getting on that, just so you guys can understand where I was coming from with it. I will own up when I'm wrong to something, and for some of these I was just straight up wrong, and for some of them I just misworded myself. So starting with the smallest thing, people are saying that I said that the game was fully 3D. I never said the game was fully 3D. What I did say is that FNAF would be interesting in 3D, or that the game would look really cool in full 3D. I know that this is still the same type of game that Scott made. It's still on the same scale of the games that Scott made, but FNAF 4 already looked really 3D, and that's kind of what I see with this game too, is that you're actually in a real 3D room. If you go back to FNAF 1, it does not give you the illusion that you're in a three-dimensional room. Instead, it's just an image sliding back and forth, and it's honestly the ugliest of all the FNAF games. And it's really hard to go back and experience the original FNAF because of that limitation. So it was really cool to see this game where you can actually turn and see the walls. You can actually interact with stuff on different walls. It really makes it feel like you're in a cramped little office. And that's what I was trying to get at. I wasn't saying that the game is built in a 3D engine or it's going to be like Security Breach. I was just getting at the fact that the room looks 3D. I misworded myself on that, and I really feel like I could have worded myself better. So now on to the second subject. This one, I just straight up messed it up. I got this wrong completely. I said that the game was past its date, that it was past the release date. This game has not had a set release date, and I just completely misremembered what had gone on with the development of this game. I'll explain myself, but there's no excuse. This game does not have a release date and never had a release date. So when I thought that it had a release date, I was remembering last year when the game switched from in development to being coming soon. And I guess my thoughts last year was coming soon meant coming later this year. And then when it didn't come out, I thought it missed its deadline. So that was really just a misremembrance on my part. And I kind of went into that same mentality this year when I saw coming soon still. There's never been a date tied to it. They've never went past the date. So I was completely wrong on that. But one thing I will say as a complaint is that when I went to go back to do research for this video, I went to the YouTube page. Because when it comes to companies like Nintendo, Sega, Sony, Xbox, I can go to their YouTube page for the games that they're promoting and get a gist of the game and what it will be like from watching the trailers and looking into what's been released video-wise. Meanwhile with this, if you go to the YouTube channel, there's nothing in the description of the YouTube channel, and most of the videos are just like ARG things. They're more like VHS horror style videos. They barely have anything to do with the actual gameplay. Like, it doesn't even really show off the gameplay. It's a very weird way to market your game, and I kind of wish that they would have just said, here's what we're going for with the game, here's what the game is going to be, coming soon. But instead the trailers are just really vague and cryptic, and most of them are just trying to do like VHS horror, which is really big for FNAF, but it's just a very strange way to market your game. People did point out to me though that the place to go to get updates is the Steam page. I wouldn't have thought to go to the Steam page because like the Steam page is for when you're ordering the game. I kind of figured that the YouTube page would have some type of information, but if you do go to the Steam page, there is information about what type of game it's going to be, how it's being made, what they're expecting from it. I kind of wish that that information was elsewhere, but yeah, I guess that's a thing. Some people said that I should have went to Twitter to get this information. Well, that's kind of confusing because Fiznom has his own public social media accounts, and then he also has the FNAF Plus social media accounts, so that can be kind of confusing. The marketing is all kind of weird, and finding updates is weird. That's why I kind of said that I wish that this was a normal game being made by a normal developer, because then at least I would know like easily what type of game it is, what they're going for when it's coming out, because corporations tend to be very on the nose with this stuff. The original FNAF games were pretty straightforward with what they were going to be. So I guess that's really my mess up, and I should have put in more effort to dig through stuff to figure out what type of game this was going to be and if it was going to have a release date. Misremembrances on my part, completely messed up there. And now for the last thing, I said that I wish that this was being made by a normal developer. And some people took that as an insult towards FNAF. There's nothing wrong with being a one-man team. Scott is a one-man team. But the difference between Scott and FNAF, Scott worked for himself. Meanwhile, FNAF is part of the Fazverse initiative, meaning that he is holding this thing together along with everybody else. And the longer he takes to release his game, the less hype there could be for the initiative. Now, I know that some people want to treat this like it is a fan game, but the truth is that this isn't a fan game. This is being made for profit. You are going to have to pay to play this game. This game is going to have merchandise. This is an actual product that you can buy. It's an actual product that's going to have stuff tied to it. And it's just weird to see that this is an actual thing being funded and being sold. Meanwhile, it's not being treated like it's a real thing. The development is weird. The information is scarce, and to find the information, you have to dig through several different social media platforms. I guess my big thing was I wish FNAF was a bit more professional with his game, but that seems to be a bigger problem with the Fazverse as a whole, because these are just normal people plucked into the position of being a developer. I have no issues with him as a developer, and I'm really amazed with what he is doing with this game. I'm just not personally hyped for it because I've already played 2 to 3 different FNAF 1 remakes in the span of his remake being made. Like, I've already played so many different FNAF 1 remakes. Maybe I'll be wrong, and his will have like some big behind-the-scenes feature that he's not showing off right now. Maybe it'll have full cutscenes or something in an actual story mode. Who knows? But from what I've seen of it, I'm just not hyped for it. I can understand why everyone else would be, and my video was never meant to be a hit piece on him. I just wish that he would be more upfront about when the game is going to come out, what a timeline for the game's development is looking like, and maybe give us more concrete updates on what the game is even, like, where it's even at in development right now. Because it was in development, now it's coming soon. That's so vague. So weird and vague. But yeah, hopefully that addressed some of the comments. I'm not claiming to be a professional YouTuber guy. I mess up. I make mistakes. I don't always word myself the best. Hopefully this at least addressed some of the comments. And hopefully we can just go back to being hyped for video games. I have my opinions, I have my thoughts about the game, its development and the developer, and you have your thoughts.